Hello and welcome to the VR Untethered podcast. This is the podcast that comes to you untethered from reality or sanity
Or both.
at the same time and separately at the same time.
Virtually as well.
Yes. Virtually, we are always untethered.
Until we're augmented.
Yeah. And then we will be untethered from our eyeballs as well.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Yes. So I'm not Brad. That's not Josh. I am Josh, and that is Brad. But neither of us are movie stars.
Damn. Dude, that's so harsh. What a way to start the weekend. Oh,
So, not Josh. Do you have any highlights this week?
yes, I have an iPhone, and I'm planning on putting myself into a video just by standing in front of my iPhone and be a TV star. Just to get even with you. So
Okay.
next time I'll be a movie star.
You're gonna call yourself the next Brad Pitt, huh?
I think that's a little played. Even Brad Pitt's looking a little long in the tooth these days, you know. No, none of us are who we used to be, and that certainly goes for Brad Pitt and Angelina.
Well, if you're not who you used to be, does that mean that you are Brad Pitt now?
It could mean I'm Bennifer if I'm not who I used to. Oh no, that would mean I am who I used to be. Right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, what goes around comes around, you know.
Obviously, all it's wow. That was like a real that was Alice, you know, like she woke up and all of a sudden, instead of A-Rod coming out of the shower, it was Ben. It's like, oh, I had the craziest dream, you know.
Maybe. I mean, there was a book I read ages ago or not ages ago, like in the last year or two, um, where a research into memory resulted in an ability to time travel and change things. The problem is when you got to the point in the new timeline where the person traveled back to make a change. Anybody that was directly affected by the change regained the memories from the original timeline. So there were a bunch of people that had what they were considering a false memory syndrome, where they remembered being married to another person for 20 years or whatever, having a kid, having a whole other life, and and the other person remembered it as well. Yeah.
So they reincarnate into the new timeline. They sort of have a different personality, but when they catch up to the same timeline, all of a sudden they become who they were.
Well, they regain the memories of the original timeline. Yeah.
But they're still living in the current timeline.
Yeah. Yeah. It eventually ended in a major crisis with the whole world just suiciding over and over again because World War III, IV, and VII broke out all at the same time because everybody regained the memories. Oh yeah, we were all killing each other and we all died. Oh no, we can't escape it. And so it would happen again, and the two people would go back and to try to change things again, and they'd get there and it would result in that again, and they'd go back and it result.
Sisyphus, talk about the ultimate Sisyphus, huh? That sounds pretty awful.
It eventually resolved itself, and they got back to the original to timeline, everything resolved and all that. But
Did you see the Tomorrow War yet?
not yet. No.
Well, the concept is great.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if you're familiar with the concept.
Whenever anybody leaves with the concept is great, that tells me that the execution might not be.
No. Well, the execution of anything made on Netflix or Prime could be better. But
Yeah.
But that being said, the idea itself was so unique that I don't know how it could have been done differently or how I
Right.
would have approached it differently, you know. So
Right.
in that respect, for what it is and considering it's on Prime,
Right.
it's great. And I don't have to pay an extra $30 to watch it like Black Widow.
Right.
Uh, seriously, I have to pay an extra $30 to watch this one movie.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. And considering how good Mulan was, like I'll ever do that. Um, let's see. Oh, right, we're doing a show on virtual reality, aren't we?
Yeah. Yes. Well, so it kind of sort of related. It's that no, it was just a minor tangent that we went off on, and
We never do that. I know we're always right on track all the time, and we never go
yeah,
off on tangents.
yes. So, so speaking of, do you have any VR related highlights,
Oh, VR related.
or AR?
Well, actually, both. I'm in the process of getting my pad set up, my iPad to
I
uh,
thought you were going back to the 60s there. I'm getting my pad set up,
yeah, dude.
my groovy pad.
Oh, the water bed's coming in now. It's so groovy. It's groovy. I just hope it doesn't knock over the lava lamps, you know. And the shag rug. But other than that, back to reality.
Okay.
Okay, for a little while anyway.
Okay.
Um, I don't think I. Oh yeah, well, I downloaded VR Sniper Elite,
I
and
believe you are, but yeah. Okay.
fine, correct me. um, it's just amazing to read all of your guys' comments. Like, first of all, I have no idea how all of you are playing this in the middle of the day. You know, like, but anyway, regardless of that,
You could
it's
be
like
too if you weren't on the phone all the time.
that's how you do it. That I guess I would have to do that. Um, the other thing that interested me is how some of you really loved the game, some of you didn't love the game, some
Right.
of you were.
Well, yeah, it's. We'll get to that a little bit more later, but yeah, there are mixed reviews on it.
Between 5 and 10, right? You know, that's like a very long stretch there. It seems like some of it was, you know, bogus. You know,
Yeah,
everybody complains about something, but it
right,
seems like some of it could have been pretty serious. I just don't want to see the Solaris thing strike up again.
right.
You know,
Yes,
it's
I know what you mean. Yeah. So, well, okay. In that case, I'll move on to my highlights, unless you got something more there.
um really just sort of playing around with augmented reality right now as well with the Apple stuff, you know,
Yeah,
and seeing where that is fitting in because it is. It's sort of
yeah,
like you could see them trying to merge the two. It's
yeah. Have you tried the AR radio controlled car yet?
yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm like, that is impressive use of the LiDAR to create a real-time mesh of the environment so that it reacts to the environment, and it's not quite completely real-time. It messes up now and then, but it does a pretty good job.
No, for what it's doing, I mean, it really is just an unattached magic leap, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
So yeah, I'm fine with it for where it is now, and I think as they get better at what they're doing,
yeah,
that
yeah.
this is really going to take off. That's why I wanted to get involved now because I think it's the
Right.
type of thing that's, you know, a year from now, you'll already have to be a developer. If you're going to try and figure this out, now's the time, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, well, my major highlight this week, aside from more Skyrim, which is always fun. um, I finally made it to Riften in Skyrim. So speaking of that, and then aside briefly, which is a town overrun by the Thieves Guild. And I have to find someone in there, but there's also a whole bunch of quests in there, including join the Thieves Guild and befriend someone who is against the Thieves Guild.
Okay, so it wants you to be schizophrenic and
Yes. And I was doing a minor miscellaneous quest in there where I was paying someone's debt so that they wouldn't be potentially killed by the person that they owed a debt to. And I had to go outside of the town to the stable was right outside to find them. As soon as I walk out, I get attacked by a dragon.
nobody warned you that this was the season. The dragons are out there.
Well, everybody says watch the skies all the time in Skyrim because the dragons are returning. So yes, but I wasn't expecting that just right outside of the town, a random dragon encounter.
Nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition.
So, anyways, one of my highlights this week was I got to play Waltz of the Wizard Natural Magic. And I really like the Sonic Scream part of the Natural Magic.
Well, you like the screaming part in Skyrim too, so I'm not surprised.
Yeah. So those of us that watched the original Dune movie with Kyle MacLachlan, right?
Yes.
You using Sonic Scream is essentially putting a weirding module on your neck. So
yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and look that up.
Haven't watched it and don't know what we are talking about because you haven't watched Dune or you haven't read the books and you haven't watched the remake. If it's out, I'm not sure. I don't know, but
not yet. They talking about it.
But first of all, why haven't you? And second of all, think of it as a piece of equipment that turns you into Banshee or Black Bolt from the Marvel comics. Your voice is a weapon. Paul Muad'Dib's name was a killing word. Muad'Dib.
Muad'Dib is a killing word. Yes, that really did make the Fremen appreciate him more.
Yeah. So, but yeah, you just summon the natural magic, to put it in your mouth, and there's like a noise as you, I guess, ingest it. And then you see shockwaves coming out of your mouth when you speak, and it is volume reactive. So the louder you are in reality, the more force it's got in the game. And it either pushes back enemies or it can rip them apart.
I understand that. I just want to know what to do when the police respond. You have the virtual headset on. Your neighbors have called the police at least 3 times because you're screaming at the top of your lungs. They come in, they point their gun and say, drop it. You don't hear them. What happens next?
Well, number one, our neighbors are not the kind that do that because they are too busy screaming themselves for other reasons.
Sort of sorry to hear that, but that would explain a few things.
No. But no, I haven't actually yelled at the top of my lung for it. I usually just go like, hello, and just drag it out so that the length of it gets rid of the enemy. Or I go, speaking of it, Skyrim, I go, Fusroda!
Oh, God. I got to get in there.
Or occasionally I decide I'm a Fremen and I go,
I was going to say, well, that's the way to do it. That's when the rock explodes.
Yeah.
The whole handshake there.
And it is very fitting because the enemies that you mostly use it on are made of rock. It's like the developers made it with Dune in mind.
How amazing.
Maybe they did.
I'm sure they could have been sitting around watching it going, that's cool. That's cool. I'm
Maybe
sure, I think a lot of the games we're playing are people sitting around going, oh, that's cool.
so. Anyway, that's a fun part of the new update for that, and we'll get into more of the new update when we actually to talk about it in the new release. But yeah, so now on to new releases. We had Sniper Elite VR released on July 8th. Imagine that.
I know. And nobody can agree on anything about this game. It's really weird.
I've seen 8.5 out of 10 review, and I've seen like 2.5 out of 10 review.
Right. I know. People saying, oh, the scopes don't even work. Other people saying these things are great. Other people saying it's janky. Other people say, oh, I think you were the one that said that it looked more like motion capture than animation.
Well, the
On
animations
books.
are great. Yeah, I mean, the graphics are. I kind of want to say cartoony, but not really say cartoony. But they're not hyper realistic at all.
Right.
They are just simplified graphics. Like you'd expect on most games.
Hmm.
But the animations, especially when you're in the intermissions between levels, they're it looks like is motion capture. So it doesn't look like like it's an animated 3D model. It looks like a real person moving around. So
Right.
it's very well done in that respect. I am going to say that I agree with RJ's assessment of the game, basically. For those who don't watch, RJ is the developer uh, working on Sunshard. He did Conjured Cards.
Fire
Uh,
Zone, the original Fire
yeah,
Zone from the
yeah,
Go.
yeah. So that's what he was most known for. Yeah, I was getting to that. His assessment of it is that honestly, it feels like a made for PSVR game in terms of many of the mechanics. The graphics are kind of aimed at Quest 2, but everything else is aimed at the PSVR. Because it's made for use with the aim controller or the dual shock. It's not really for the move controllers. And until PSVR 2 comes out with the new
Plus,
Tabasco
right?
Hill controller,
Yes.
they have limited controllers compared to us on the Quest and the PC side.
Right.
So it's designed with those controllers in mind, which means that it's, you know, and they wanted parity between PSVR and all the rest. So that's
And like,
probably part of the reason why the controls don't always quite feel right for the Quest and the PC users.
yeah, but that's kind of crappy, which is once again going to Solaris type,
Well, I mean, it still works and it's not necessarily crappy, because you have two hands. You are using two hands. It's not like you're just one handing everything and the
right.
other hand is just automated. That's not that. Um, but there are things that are a little clunky, like when I'm reloading my sniper rifle. If I want to try to do it with the trigger hand, which is the officially correct way of doing it, right? Because
Right.
you don't want to reach across, and you don't want to risk pulling the trigger while you're reloading, or all that stuff. And if you do it so this way, you can maintain line of sight on the target and all that. Well, um, number one, in reality, I'd probably grab the bolt with just these two fingers, not with my whole hand.
Right.
But in the game, you use the grip button, not the trigger button.
That's crazy.
So it feels like I'm going and ham fisting the bolt, and then where I in real life would have to just to go like that or whatever, right? It feels like I've got to go,
Wow.
you know.
Big throw.
But that could just be because I'm using my physical gun stock, which might be holding it a little closer to my body than the game wants, so it's having trouble because of that.
Right.
I tried last night after the big dockless store services crash resolved itself. I tried doing it with my offhand, and it works a little bit better that way. I mean, I still have to make a little bit bigger of a motion than is entirely realistic, but it works a little bit better. And it not there are enough things to break the flow already, so it's not like you are losing anything by doing it with the offhand. There isn't that much of a benefit to mastering doing it with the trigger hand. So, other than it's not as immersive because you're not doing it the right way.
Okay, I mean, I get that to some degree, but Pop One, it's not very realistic either. There are certain things that
Right. Pop One is just
right. So everyone has a different control that way. So I guess the more of them you play, the weirder they all feel because you have to do something different in every one of them, and then they all have a variety.
Yeah.
Right. Plus the variety of weapons. So,
but the scopes work great. They work if you've got them all the way out here. They work if you've got them right here. And you can focus by pulling the trigger of the offhand, and it basically zooms in and it vignettes around it so that you get a tighter shot on the actual target, and it kind of slows down time a little bit as well.
Cool.
You can hear the alarm sound in the background going slowing down, and the Doppler effect going on.
Gotcha.
Gotcha.
So it's weird because, like I said, when reading the reviews, it seems like janky, but not too janky. Good graphics, not great, but very good. Like you said, anywhere from
all depends on the reviewer's personal pet peeves. Personally, there are some clunky interactions, but overall, it's fun. One thing I don't like is that they're kind of taking the Medal of Honor approach, breaking it up. It's a small segment, bit of backstory, small segment, bit of backstory, small segment, little bit of backstory, and then it gradually gets a little bit bigger segment, back to a small segment, then a little bit bigger segment, then bigger,
Right.
And I was watching some gameplay of Sniper Elite 4 on the PC, obviously not VR. And it just throws you in. You're in there, you are there. You're not an old grandpa reminiscing about his war days and reliving memories. You're there,
Right.
This is your now,
Yeah.
And I'm not sure why they chose, and I haven't looked at all the other Sniper Elite games, so I don't know if if Sniper Elite 4 is the exception, or if Sniper Elite VR is the exception. But the only reason I can think why they would break it up like that is they're worried about level loading on the Quest 2, and they don't want to have a completely open world, and they don't want to have people cross an invisible line and then have to load the next part of the jungle or whatever, you know. And so they wanted to put a frame around it rather than just throw you in. But
awesome.
as a result, it kind of feels a little bit like how Medal of Honor was doing it, which broke the flow of the story a little bit, you know. So,
The
and
only thing
they are trying to compensate for that by having the story still go on in the intermission, because you've got the voiceover of your character remembering and talking about things. So
I don't know if that was an artistic choice, if that was, like
right.
you were saying, a way to, take up time while everything was loading. I'm not sure.
But you also have challenges and stars and whatnot. And according to one review that I read, later on down the line in some of the missions, you get to a point where if you haven't gotten enough stars on the previous missions, you will have to go back and redo missions in order to get enough stars, because you have to have enough stars collected to move on to that mission.
Okay. Makes sense.
You know, so
Okay.
and it kind of uses a Half-Life Alyx um, item grabbing method. You know, hold out your hand and and
Right.
just snap to your hand, because that's how things worked back in World War II.
Of course.
And you can throw the grenade or do a pop one style to click and launch. You know, whichever way you want to do it. Throwing is obviously a little bit more inaccurate depending on your ability to throw accurately in VR, but you can't throw it farther than you can launch it with the point and click. So there's no advantage of, oh, hey, I can throw it farther than I can launch it. You know,
Right.
it's just immersion.
Okay.
Which is not necessarily a bad thing. That just
Keeping
means that
the
they don't want
options
to.
good.
They're trying to keep it balanced across all of the gameplay styles.
Yeah, that could be
So
rough. That is difficult, but it's good that they give you the option. Some people are going to want
yeah,
to shoot it, and some people are going to want to throw it.
right. So, and yeah, but overall, I am enjoying it. It's got cloud save, so if you buy, and is cross buy, so if you buy it on the Quest and you decide you want to try it with virtual desktop link, AirLink, you can download it for free on your PC, and all of your progress transfers over because it's got cloud save. So
I think everything's going to go over to cloud save pretty soon.
yeah. So anyways, so if is it to buy or don't buy? That's completely up to you, viewers.
That's what it seems like. It seems
Well,
like
that's my answer to everything, honestly, except for VR cards and Solaris.
oh, you're not going to throw in epic roller coasters? Fine.
That's a buy.
Pass by.
I'm joking,
I know.
but no, it's um, I'm enjoying it. I know Michael has some of the same comments I have on the weapons and all that, but he's still enjoying it and he keeps still going back to it. But then again, he's his own unique case. He even enjoys Solaris. So, anyways, moving on to a little bit more of Walls of the Wizard Natural Magic update. This brings with it a currently 40 level dungeon. Well, a fortress where you're going up rather than down, but it's a dungeon. And you are collecting pieces at the end of every level to a giant mosaic that is being reconstructed in the courtyard. And you are challenging the observers, who were one of the little mini adventures you could unlock in the original Waltz of the Wizard. And they are trying to stop you, and they're sending stone golems rolling around on a single ball wheel at you, and they're sending flying laser shooting drones at you, and yeah. So
Cool. Getting better.
it's pretty fun. It can be a little bit repetitive, but all dungeon crawlers kind of are. It's challenging. It's 40 levels. I'm only at like level 15 or 16 on it right now. But with the natural magic, you are able to shoot the magic out and have it just hit and do some damage, or you can guide it as it goes so that you can aim where it goes a little bit. And right after it hits, if you then re-grab, you can then, on a lot of things, control and do like a force pull or throw or whatever of the object. So
cool.
And of course, it's got the sonic scream.
Yeah. We all remember that.
And Sam and Max came out on July 8th. Have you taken a look at that yet?
I have, and yeah, I mean, I haven't purchased it. I looked at it, and I looked at some of the reviews and watched some of the trailer, and it's not Sam and Maxy enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I saw a headline of light on interactions, big on the crazy or
And,
the
even,
zany or
yeah,
whatever.
Max is still kind of crazy, Sam, but I mean, it's like a series of mini games as opposed to tutorials that then lead to some real game. Which is fun. These are just mini games that lead to more mini games.
Right, and that's kind of the impression I got from everything leading up to this, is that you're training to become part of the police force or whatever, and so they lead you through a series of challenges. They never said, and at the end, they're the mission.
Right. I know, but you would think that some mission or something would be given, at the end, as opposed to just mini games. And like I said, Max is crazy, but he's not as crazy. And sometimes you need
And Max
that.
is the rabbit one, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
You
Why
need
is it
that
always the rabbit that have to be crazy?
because dogs just have better dispositions.
Some do. Not all do.
Well, Sam does. Sam does. You would definitely rather hang with Sam than Max if you were looking to have a calm day, for sure.
But if you think about it, we have Bugs Bunny,
Mm-hmm.
we have Raving Rabbits,
Mm-hmm.
we have Max,
Mm-hmm.
we have Roger Rabbit.
Mm-hmm.
Rabbits are always crazy. Why?
I'd have to eat a lot more carrots to come up with the answer to that.
Well,
there must be something in that beta
I'm
carotene.
wrong. We also have Banicula.
That's true.
He wasn't crazy. Everyone else around him was, because they thought he was a vampire.
Correct.
That
But
drank the blood of vegetables.
or as we call it, fruit juice, vegetable juice.
Yeah.
I could have had a V8.
So, anyways, so it sounds like it's a little bit of a letdown, possibly, if you're a big Sam Max fan.
Yeah, I'm thinking would they include it in a bundle or give you a heavy duty 30%er or something maybe. But for right now, there's enough in the pipeline and enough available that Sam and
Right.
Max does not look high enough on the list. And it's pretty pricey. So
Right.
once again, not a buy for me at this point, which is a shame. But
No, yeah. And we had Zombieland for PC VR come out yesterday on Friday. I haven't played the original on the Quest, but I know it looks campy and not really something I'm interested in. But I would imagine that the PC VR version is much the same, possibly better graphics.
possibly.
But
And
it is good that they were fulfilling on their promise of to bringing it to the PC as well. So,
right. Like there aren't enough zombie games in VR right now.
there are never enough zombie games, right?
Never. Right. We're all practicing for the zombie apocalypse,
Yes. Speaking of the zombie apocalypse, you can get NBC Olympics VR by Xfinity for free. Even though there's not much you can do in it right now because the Olympics have not yet started.
And even when they do start, considering there will be no one in the stands, I'm not really, and the fastest woman in the States won't be running. I'm sort of not really excited about the Olympics this
year. Yeah. I mean, I downloaded it so I could to take a look at it and talk intelligently about it, but there really isn't much you can to do right now because the Olympics are not live, so I couldn't test out most of the features in it, but it looks like they are promising 360-degree video, front row, all that sort of stuff, maybe even in the middle of the action and some of the stuff, and live feeds of at least a few of the things, highlights, commentary, all the usual stuff that you would get. So
The problem that you have with that is if everybody is going to be watching the Olympics online, there's going to be some.
There might be some outages and buffering, and which is worse in VR than it is in flat.
Right, in VR.
If you're at all motion sickness prone and you're in a 360-degree stereoscopic live feed and it stutters, it buffers, you're gonna be feeling nauseous.
Sick. Yeah, it was just doing that made me realize just how bad it could be. So, let's see what happens.
Yeah, so hopefully they've got that optimized well enough, but you never know. It is Xfinity.
True. And hopefully none of you bought tickets to go see the Olympics, or you won't be.
And the last one is Paper Birds Part 2. It just came out.
And you can purchase them both together for $6.99. Parts 1 and 2.
A free update to the original one, I believe. And it brings Edward Norton and who else? I forget another big name actor that's doing a voice for it. I forget.
I do too. The whole idea behind Paper Birds sounded interesting at the beginning. I don't know where it's going, but it still seems kind of on the depressing side.
Well, yeah, and it also, I think it's probably still also really short.
Yeah.
So.
But short and
it should be well done, even though short. It's just Moving on to upcoming titles. How's that for a segue?
Pretty
complete lack of a segue.
Right, I was going to say pretty bold. Bam.
we don't know exactly when it's coming out, but it's supposedly sometime this month. Noda is coming to the Quest. This is a VR mind mapping tool. I've used it before, I think, on SideQuest, and it's already out on Steam, and it's likely to be the same on Quest as it is on Steam, which is free to download, but you can do like a $4.99 a month subscription to get the premium, which unlocks more environments. It's got text to speech and some other features, and so. But yeah, it's a mind mapping tool. Right. You create nodes and you attach other nodes to them, and you have ideas. And if you're at all familiar with what a mind map is or a flow chart, that's basically what this is.
A mind map is a flow chart, except in 3 dimensions. So it's
no, a mind map is not necessarily 3 dimensions. It's just a different use of a flow chart. The flow chart usually is specifically for putting down the flow of the decision making or whatever. Say, here's the question, depending on the answer, you go yes, you go no, So
same with the mind map.
The mind map can be used for that. It can also just be used to brainstorm the relationship between ideas.
Right. Completely a node.
Right.
Where that idea goes, and then the links.
I first encountered mind mapping way back when I was taking a creative writing course, and we were introduced to the concept of clustering, as it was called then. It's a mind map. You start by drawing a circle in the center, and you write the theme or the idea of what you are trying to write about in that, and then as quickly as possible, without thinking it, draw another circle and line and write something related, and then relate stuff to that, and then come down here, go with another idea, and to branch off until you have enough stuff to build up, and you go, okay, right, all right, done. I got something written, and it all flowed right out of that. So it was a creativity tool.
Exactly, and with writing, it works very, very well. Right. And if you have anything complicated where it's going to be more than one tangent, and those tangents link to other tangents, and so it can work if you need it. Only you know if you need it. That's the thing. It's an organizational tool.
Yeah. Yep, it's a mental organization tool.
Right.
So, and mind maps can end up looking like very chaotic spider webs, like they drink too much caffeine.
Correct. Correct. That's why everybody has their own control of their thought pattern. So hopefully this will work for everyone. It looks like it's flexible enough.
Yeah. So, I mean, and it's not the only tool of this nature that's in VR either. But I did, as I mentioned, to test it out before, and it works pretty well. It's not something that you're necessarily just going to go in and play around with. You kind of have to have a reason for it. You go in with, here's what I want to mind map. So. Anyways, on to the news. All the news that's fit to print.
Do we have much news?
All the news we have is good news.
That's good.
So, Netflix is possibly entering the VR fray.
Yeah.
They announced a tighter partnership with Shonda Rhimes, the person behind the Bridgerton series, which was evidently Netflix's most watched series ever.
Well, you combine sex and nothing else on TV, and
And
somehow or other.
Victorian era and gossip and yeah. It's a Victorian era gossip soap.
Right, exactly. So yeah, why wouldn't that be the perfect vehicle for VR?
Right. But part of the partnership involves the opportunity for the possibility of VR games and stuff.
I would have thought if they were going to introduce VR into anything, Carnival Row would have been a good show to have introduced that. Or there are other shows I think that could have.
I'm just glad that they didn't decide to enter into a VR partnership with American Horror Story.
Oh my God, yeah, that would be pretty.
As much as I don't like Bridgerton personally, I'd rather have Bridgerton than American Horror Story in VR.
Oh my God, yeah, no, that would. There's enough people having trouble coping these days. I don't think you want American Horror Story.
Yeah, I don't want Kathy Bates coming after me in VR.
No. I don't want her coming after me in real life, much less in VR.
Yeah. So, anyways, Tesla Suit has partnered with with Surgical Institute, and because their suits are not only to deliver haptics and electricity to the muscles, they can also read. So it's basically a full body muscular diagnostic suit. So it's very useful in rehab and diagnostics and whatnot. So that's what this partnership entails.
Let's see where that goes, right? I mean, it's. I don't know. He's a little crazy. Musk is, the guy that's now
and I'm
screaming.
like, I wonder if part of the reason for this is the Tesla suit is still way out of the price range of almost any VR enthusiast.
It is. It is.
I mean, I like the idea, but yeah, it's not something I'd ever be able to afford.
Right, exactly. So it seems like something that's going to have to be worked on. We're back down to, are you going to buy the vest, or are you going to buy the little, reflective pieces for your jeans to full body motion?
And this is, this is going to keep the Tesla suit going for a little bit longer. Hopefully helping it make money and all that, and continue research and cost minimization, so so yeah, that's a good thing. It, as I said, it is good news.
Okay. I believe you.
Now for a little bit more possibly good news, Lynx headset evidently is promising, in their own words, a few hundreds in price and competition with Facebook. That is their goal.
Okay.
Is to have it affordably priced and to compete with Facebook.
Okay.
The jury remains out on that. We shall see.
Well, the Lynx was
the competition is not a bad thing.
Lynx was originally Atari. Atari really screwed up their VCS, so I'm not really.
Right. Well, yeah, it's like, we'll see.
Right. That's the only thing I could say at this point is we'll see. They're not a known quantity anymore. It's we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, if they do fulfill on the promise, and it's a VR and AR standalone headset that actually works, it works well, it's got quality build quality, which I know sounds redundant, but not really. That sounds redundant, but
it could have been put more artfully. I'll give you that.
Yeah, but in other words, if they do it right and they live up to the hype they are trying to generate for it, it should be good.
Competition, right?
Yeah. So, and Also, VR has raised $27 million in Series B funding. That is a medical VR company, and it's looking up. I originally got a trouble board ready on my other computer in the other room, so I don't have the stuff pulled up right here.
I was going to say, you're going to have to put a sound dampener under your keyboard because you...
So, as it raises to be funding to expand its VR surgical training platform. So
Makes sense. We've been reading about that now for 2 years, so it's...
So, evidently also says it experienced a lot of growth during 2020 because of the COVID-19 pandemic, as it was trying to fill demand for immersive training modules. So, and it's now got over 120 modules and 10 plus specialties, and it's got new additions such as orthopedic, endoscopy, and interventional procedures. So
this is great. I honestly do believe this will be... Well, it is. It's been a major achievement in medicine already. It's just going to get better and better. So.
Yeah. And are you ready for the return of Quill?
No, I don't have a PlayStation.
I know. Well, it's not necessarily. It didn't necessarily say that it's exclusive, but it only mentioned the PSVR.
Only,
yes.
Right. And it's like, wait.
Moss Book 2 has been officially teased.
I know. And I want.
But they only mentioned PlayStation.
I know. That's like, really? I have to spend $500 to get the box to play the game?
Wait another half a year to a year after when they port it to the PC.
By then I'll have my Apple headset, and I don't know what I'll be playing on.
I know.
It was disappointing. I really don't understand why they just went with Sony on this one. Really don't.
I don't know. But it is promising that it is coming.
You promised me only good
times things like this end with a promise of more, and then more never happens. So it's good that more is happening on this one, even if even if it's only on PlayStation for now, because if nothing else, we can watch a playthrough of someone, and we can still get the story of it, even if we don't get the experience of it. I mean, that's not the ideal way, but
Yeah, right. We don't have to go to Hawaii, honey. Let's just watch this video for 20 minutes and.
No, we go to Hawaii in VR.
Done that. Wasn't quite the same. The poi just doesn't have the same texture,
Yeah.
Felt like air.
Mahi tastes like cardboard. That's because you're eating cardboard bread.
Uh-oh. One of the dangers of VR. Don't let this happen to you.
Yeah. So, in other news, Abduction from the creators of Myst and Riven and Abduction.
Abduction was the third game I purchased in VR about 4.5 years ago.
And it's now free on the Epic Store. I think it's only for a limited time, though, right? It's like about a week or so.
I don't know. I have to say, Abduction was very. I had 3 people go into Abduction and play the first half hour, and we all came out the same thing, going, "Am I missing something?" It was whatever. If somebody
meaning that they weren't liking it, or they found it so too hard, or what?
There was literally no direction, like the way they throw you into Myst with no direction, but you could find it. Here, even the clues weren't leading to other clues. You know, it was just like within a half hour, it didn't matter what they were going to tell you. It was abandoned, not abducted. You know,
Well,
forget it.
yeah. Well, I mean, that's kind of what their games are known for, the lack of direction
No,
and the
no, I
lack of
understand.
hand-holding.
Right, but I mean, you still are able to figure it out. You know,
Right.
if you
And
get
yeah, and there have been people that have with it, because I've seen the gameplay, the videos where they're moving on and they are figuring the things out. But yeah, it's a harder game because there's absolutely no hand holding and no guidance, and yeah.
not right, you don't know when something's paying off, when it's not. You have no. It's just. It seems like it's a waste of time, to be very honest with you, if you don't know that you're advancing.
Well, I can I
You
can
have
see
to give
that.
some.
You
You know,
know.
you have to give some payback. You just have to. Even in Journey of the Gods and stuff. You know, at least every now and then do something that'll make the person realize that he did something good
Right.
or useful. You know, as
Well,
opposed.
if I remember right, there are memories and other things that they get unlocked when you do things, and but it has been a while since I've watched a video on it. But
Yeah.
it's one that I might check out. I. I mean, I don't know for sure that the Epic Store version contains the VR part. It most likely does, but it but I might check it out and to,
Yeah.
to take a look at it. Have nothing else. Join the frustrated after half an hour crowd or whatever.
Exactly. We could discuss it after you've played that half hour. Yeah. You know what?
um, and our last bit of news, which is coming 3 minutes before the 1 hour mark on our show. DLC and in-app purchases are coming for App Lab titles later this year. Um, uh, I know. Uh, People don't necessarily want in-app purchases, but the developers for the App Lab are currently limited in that they can't offer DLC, they can't offer in-app purchases right now, and
Because they don't
so
qualify for the Quest store.
that they are
So,
limited. But that's going to, to be coming later this year. So,
well, you know, it's just weird because the same day I was reading the article that said how overpriced the games on Apple App are, considering how underdeveloped they are, and then now they want to add more pricing and more in-app purchases and
well,
DLCs.
um, part of the reason they are overpriced, perhaps, is because they can't do in-app purchases and they can't, do the DLC stuff. They can't do all the other little stuff that gets people in and whatnot, But soon they will be able to, and so either the prices will start feeling right, or they'll be able to bring down the price some because they'll know that they'll have in-app purchases and DLCs to entice more people in and whatnot. So it's a good thing that they will be getting access to that ability. Because right now they are limited, and if they wanted to add even a free DLC, they can't.
Gotcha.
So, yeah,
Okay, we'll see where it goes. You know, I can't
yeah,
be just negative on it. We have to see where it goes.
yeah. But in my opinion, anything that gives the developers a little bit more freedom and another avenue of um, income and whatnot. So for the most part, is a good thing. They don't have to do in-app purchases. They don't have to do DLC. But right now, they can't. It's not an option. for them. And now, once it comes out and becomes reality, it will be an option for them. So,
right. Okay. Well, like I said, we'll see where it goes.
Yeah. And on that note, you have reached the end of our show. End of line. No.
Transmission.
Yeah. End of transmission. No. So remember to like, subscribe, and if you made it this far, thank you for watching. I know we were a little bit weird sometimes, but thank you. And remember to like, subscribe, drag your friends over, take their hands, hit that notification bell icon at least 5 times, and have a great day. Bye.